I'm Janice. Standing in the midst of the chaotic wedding reception, I watched as my mother-in-law, Amelia Blackwood, stood frozen by the gift table, her face as pale as a ghost. Her eyes were wild with horror as she stared at the document in her shaking hands. My so-called husband, Ethan, was beside her, gesturing frantically into his phone. The room was filled with whispering guests, their eyes darting between Amelia, Ethan, and me. I glided over, my elegant wedding dress trailing behind me. "Problem?" I asked innocently. Amelia's voice was shrill. "What did you do? This says you transferred your debts." I feigned surprise, peering at the paper. "How strange. That's not what you told everyone I was signing. You said it was a transfer of assets to the family trust. You said it was tradition." Ethan grabbed my arm roughly. "Fix this. Now." I looked down at his hand, then up into his face. "I believe the Blackwood family tradition is that real wives share everything with their husbands. Everything includes debt, doesn't it?" He sputtered, about to say something cruel, but I cut him off softly. "I'd be very careful about your next words. We have 200 witnesses to your mother's coercion. My phone has been recording since I walked back in. And look, there's Lily." I waved to Lily, Ethan's sister-in-law, who was standing across the room, flashing me a thumbs up with her phone in hand, having recorded the entire confrontation. Just then, Amelia's phone rang again. She answered it, and as she listened, her legs buckled. "That's impossible. Check again." "What do you mean frozen? What do you mean under investigation?" I leaned in close. The tradition clause was my special touch. Your attempt at public coercion triggered an automatic audit of the Blackwood Trust. Every dirty little secret, including the $5 million you stole from Lily 8 years ago, is about to surface. I'm a lawyer, Amelia. Did Ethan never mention that? I specialized in financial fraud before I met your son. My grandmother didn't just leave me money, she left me the skills to protect it. As the chaos in the room swirled around me, I was reminded of how I got to this point. 3 months ago, I was blissfully in love with Ethan. He was charming, with his deep blue eyes and a smile that could light up a room. We'd met at a law firm event, and he'd swept me off my feet with his romantic gestures, candlelit dinners, weekend getaways, and a beautiful proposal on a mountaintop. My family background was quite different from Ethan's. I was raised in a middle-class family. My parents were hard-working. My father was a carpenter, a man of few words but with a heart of gold. My mother was a schoolteacher, gentle yet firm, and she always instilled in me the values of honesty and hard work. My grandmother, on the other hand, was a self-made businesswoman. She'd built a successful chain of restaurants from the ground up. When she passed away, she left me an inheritance of $3 million. She'd always told me, "Trust no one with your money, Janice. Read every contract, every word, and never let anyone take advantage of you." A month before the wedding, I met Amelia for the first time. She was dressed in an expensive fur coat and diamond jewelry, her eyes cold and calculating. She sized me up as if I were a piece of property. From that moment on, my life with the Blackwood family became a nightmare. At the bridal shower, Lily pulled me aside. She was tipsy and clearly bitter. "Run, Janice. They took my entire dowry, my dignity. They'll do the same to you if you stay." At the time, I thought she was overreacting. I was so in love with Ethan that I dismissed her warnings. As the wedding day approached, Ethan started acting strangely. He'd mention in passing how important it was for the Blackwood family to keep their wealth intact. "It's just a family tradition, Janice. Real wives share everything with their husbands," he'd say. Then, on our wedding day, 3 hours after we exchanged vows, the drama began. Amelia walked into the middle of the reception, a document in her hand. The champagne flute in someone's hand crashed to the floor as if in slow motion, the golden liquid spreading like a stain across the marble. Attention, everyone, Amelia's voice boomed. Before we continue this celebration, there's a family matter to address. You see, Janice here received a significant inheritance from her grandmother. And as a member of the Blackwood family, she should share it. I stood there, frozen in my $35,000 wedding dress. Ethan stepped beside me, not to protect me but to pressure me. Amelia slapped the document on the table. Here's a simple transfer document. It's just a formality. All our wives have done it. I could feel my parents' worried looks from across the room. My mother's face was pale, and my father was clenching his fists. But I took a deep breath and decided to play along. Amelia pulled out a fancy pen from her purse and held it out to me. Sign, dear. It's for the family. Ethan whispered in my ear, just a formality. You know I love you. But I wondered, did he really love me, or was it the money? I took the pen and said lightly, I should probably read this first. Amelia laughed sharply. Don't be ridiculous, Janice. It's your wedding day. It's all standard legal language. Ethan had our family lawyers draw it up. As I scanned the first page, I wasn't surprised. It was a complete transfer of all my assets, irrevocable and effective immediately. Ethan's voice grew impatient. Everyone's waiting, Janice. I looked at him, at the man I'd thought I knew, and then I said, you're right. Everyone is waiting. I flipped to the signature page, and Amelia practically vibrated with eagerness. Ethan's hand pressed hard on my back. I signed the document, and Amelia snatched it up before the ink was dry. Welcome to the family, Janice. Truly, she said, a triumphant smile on her face. The reception started up again, but I knew this was far from over. 2 weeks before the wedding, I'd visited Blackwood and Associates, the family law firm. I met with Mr. Henry Thompson, the senior partner. I walked in with tears in my eyes and a recording device in my purse. I told him how worried I was about signing away my inheritance, how Ethan had threatened to call off the wedding if I didn't comply, and how Amelia had made it clear I'd never be fully accepted into the family without giving up my money. Mr. Thompson was horrified. That's coercion, Miss Janice. Potentially criminal. I can't be a part of this. I sobbed, but they'll ruin me if I don't sign. The wedding is in 2 weeks. Please, can you help me? He thought for a moment and then said he'd come up with a solution. He drew up 2 documents. One was the transfer Amelia expected, and the other. Well, the other was what Amelia had just grabbed. Instead of signing over my inheritance, I'd signed over my student loans, a total of $420,000. Moreover, on the second page, which Amelia hadn't bothered to read in her haste, was a clause I'd asked Mr. Thompson to add. It stated that any attempt to coerce financial transfers from family members would result in an automatic reversal of all Blackwood Trust assets to the victim of that coercion. After an hour had passed at the reception, I felt my phone buzz. It was a text from Mr. Thompson. Document filed with the court. Verification complete. Congratulations on your wedding, Miss Janice. I excused myself to the bathroom, where Lily was waiting for me. Her face was pale but determined. I asked, did you get it? She held up her phone, showing me the video of the entire confrontation. Send it to Mr. Thompson, I said. And thank you, Lily, for warning me. She smiled fiercely. They did this to me 8 years ago. I've been waiting for someone brave enough to fight back. I touched up my lipstick in the mirror and said, well, the wait is over. Now, back at the reception, the chaos was at its peak. I picked up a champagne flute and tapped it with a knife. The room fell silent. I'd like to propose a toast, I announced. To family traditions, to sharing everything, and to my new mother-in-law, who taught me the most valuable lesson of all, always read the fine print. I raised my glass to Amelia, who looked like she was about to pass out. Welcome to the family. Truly. That night, I checked into a hotel suite. The annulment papers were already drawn up, just like Mr. Thompson had promised. Lily stayed with me, sharing stories of how Amelia had controlled and humiliated her over the years. She made me sign over my family's antique collection, said it was for the family name, Lily said softly. I was so young and naive. I'll help you get it back, every single piece, I promised. By the next morning, my phone was bombarded with messages. The news of the scandal had spread like wildfire. Headlines read, Blackwood wedding ends in financial fraud investigation. Ethan sent me texts, alternating between threats and pleas. I blocked him after the 20th message. Amelia tried calling from different numbers, but I let them all go to voicemail. My parents showed up at the hotel with my passport and a suitcase. Italy, my mother suggested. It's beautiful this time of year. Actually, I said, pouring myself a cup of coffee, I think I'll stay and watch this show unfold. Someone needs to help Lily through the legal process. My father grinned. That's my girl. Your grandmother would be proud. I knew she would. As I checked out of the hotel later that morning, still wearing my wedding dress, the hotel manager stopped me. Ms. Janice, there's a delivery for you. It was a single white orchid with a card. There was no signature, just a message, the other wives are watching. You've given us hope. I tucked the card into my purse. The Blackwood family thought they'd found an easy target in me. Instead, they'd awakened a storm. My marriage had lasted a mere 12 hours, but the lesson, never sign without reading, never trust those who demand money as proof of love, and never underestimate a woman with a legal mind and a grandmother's wisdom, would stay with me forever. I was ready to fight for what was right, and I was just getting started.